Hello YouTube, it's been a while. Yeah, as you're probably aware, I didn't upload for quite some time. It's just something that happened. It was never planned for me to take a longer break. There's also no real reason behind it other than just life got in the way, life happened. And I've been busy and I've had focus on other stuff in my life, and I was also at some point probably just too lazy to do the setup for the video, to prepare everything and then to upload it and all of this stuff, especially with the lighting. I hope this comes out nicely now with the lighting, because I already did this video last night. I talked for around half an hour only to afterwards find out, oh yeah, even though I had two light sources, one above me and one on the side of me, it was still almost impossible to see anything. And it's quite hard for me on the small screen of the camera to notice how bad the lighting actually looks in the finished video. So hopefully this is now better. In any case, yeah, I'm back. I'll see if I will do some regular uploads again. I have some ideas for some videos that I want to do. I will keep it basically the same way that it is at the moment, just very low-fi and not very high production values, simply because for me this is just something that I'm doing that relaxes me, that it's just a hobby. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not monetizing my videos. I'm not, I don't go for a sponsor or anything. I'm not doing this as my job. It's just a hobby that I'm doing. And yeah, one of my main motivations also to come back is the reason is that I still watch a lot of YouTube content and videos on YouTube all day long, and I still watch videos about retro games, about gaming in general. And at this point in my life I noticed that I'm gravitating a lot to channels that are just about people talking about the hobby, about what they like about games. I don't really need like the high production videos. Of course I enjoy stuff if Digital Foundry does retro specials, that's something that I really enjoy as well. But I also enjoy just the guy sitting in a chair and talking about games, talking about his experience with games, talking about games that he bought, that he is playing. And yeah, one of the main motivations for me to actually do this again is a channel called Access Area 6. I will also link it in the description. It's just a guy in the UK who is, yeah, he's just sitting in a chair, just talking about games. And he's doing all of his editing in camera as well. He just does everything in one take and then he uploads it. He doesn't do anything fancy with the videos, but noticed that I actually really like the style of these videos. So yeah, this was one of my motivations, or one of the things that just got me into saying, hey, why don't I try this again and again. It's not like I'm afraid that I'm setting myself up for failure or anything, because I'm not planning to do this for a huge audience. It's mostly for myself and just to get some stuff off of my chest, and just to relax and to do something that belongs to my hobby and that I actually enjoy. So yeah, as I said, I already have a few ideas for some future videos as well. Today I just wanted to do like a quick video to say that I am actually planning to do more uploads, and just to talk a bit about a small subset of my collection. In the last few years I've acquired many more games. My collection has significantly grown. I didn't do any of the update videos of all the stuff that I bought, and trying to figure out retroactively all of the stuff that I acquired since the last update is also almost impossible. So I'm not going to do this. But what I have decided to do for today is I wanted to talk about a bit about the classic OG Xbox, and in specific about a few classic Xbox games that were exclusive to Japan. I plan to do like a proper video of my complete OG classic collection of all the games that I own for the platform, because it is actually one of my favorite gaming systems, retro gaming systems. I got into the Xbox basically after the Dreamcast was done officially. Was basically the next console I acquired after I got the Dreamcast, after the Dreamcast was officially dropped by Sega. Now, don't get me wrong, I was still actively playing Dreamcast, and I'm still actively collecting games for Dreamcast now, even though I think I've reached the point where I have probably 99% of all of the games that I ever actually wanted to own for the system. But yeah, it was just the next system after Dreamcast that I got, because for me it was kind of like also a spiritual successor to the Dreamcast. A lot of people know that Sega put out quite a few games and quite a few franchises that were that they did on Dreamcast that they continued on Xbox. So this was one of the reasons back then why I got the Xbox. Another big thing that led me to get the Xbox was also the technical improvements, and just that it's such a technical powerhouse it was back then. The fact that when you had a US Xbox, you could actually hook it up to an HD TV, like the early HD TVs from back then, and you could actually play some games in 720p or even 1080i, even though I would stick to 720p. Yeah, so that was one of the things that really fascinated me back then. And also on the audio side, similarly, the fact that the Xbox from the get-go supported Dolby Digital 5.1 surround sound output. So even before I owned an Xbox, I already had a small 5.1 surround setup. In fact, to this day I still own the same speaker setup, and I'm still using the same speaker setup from back in the day, because even though I've moved a couple of times since I got the original setup, I'm still in quite a small space. So the speakers, it's not like they go bad after a few years. It's not like they become worse at their job, at what they're doing. So I'm still sticking with the same small configuration of 5.1 speakers with an active subwoofer. It's some Teufel speakers. I'm still happy with them. Of course, I've replaced my receiver, my amplifier, audio amplifier a few times. Meanwhile, because of course the first one that I had, there was no HDMI back then, at least not in amplifiers. So first one that I had was still completely like in analog, and had to use the optical cable from the Xbox to connect it to the speaker. But still, it was awesome to be playing games in surround sound, in 5.1 surround sound. So what I would usually do was I would just start a game, and for example in the first person shooter I would just try to talk to an NPC, and then in the game turn around, to listen to figure out, hey, is the dialogue actually mapped correctly to the correct surround speakers. And then of course in-game while I'm running around blowing up stuff, it would be awesome to have the explosions in the back when you're turned around. And games like Burnout 3, Burnout Revenge, Burnout Takedown, I think they were just masterpieces when it came to like audio design. And same for Black, one of my favorite shooters on the classic Xbox. Same, the audio design in this game is just was incredible. I'm still in awe every time I play this today. In the first level, when I pick up the rocket launcher and I just shoot it in a diagonal line upstairs into like this huge tower. The tower collapses. The way that the sound is coming when the glass is shattering everywhere. And this was something that I really liked and loved about the Xbox as well. Especially compared to the PlayStation 2, which I only got after the fact, basically only after I had already acquired an Xbox 360. I only bought the PS2 at a point where one of my 360s, probably for the second or third time, was I had sent it to Microsoft for repairs because of the red ring of death, and I was just bored. Basically, I wanted to buy a new gaming system, so I was like, yeah, I'll finally give the PS2 a shot, and I'll play some of the like a few exclusives that I actually was interested in. And yeah, then I noticed also that, for example, the PlayStation 2, it supports Dolby Digital 5.1 only in like cutscenes in games, when probably I assume the games are just playing DVD like movies from disc, and then Dolby Digital 5.1 can be encoded, I guess. But it's not like it's doing this on a hardware level and included in games. I know that there were some later games, I believe, that supported like DTS in some specific DTS formats and stuff. But yeah, at that point, as I said, I was already deep into my classic Xbox, and I've never looked back to this day. So yeah, and very recently I was looking into the world of Japan exclusive Xbox games for the classic Xbox. As you may be aware, the Xbox itself basically was kind of a test balloon for Microsoft. They were testing the waters to see if they are able to actually produce a home console, and if they are, if there's a market for them, if there's a way for them to actually sell consoles. And even though it wasn't the best-selling console in the world, of course, it was still quite a success, for especially the fact that they were doing this for the first time. It was the first time that they actually gave it a shot. So it was successful enough in Europe and in the US, but from the start I think Japan was always the one territory where they really didn't have any major success at all. This continued with the Xbox 360, and I think probably also still to this day with the Series consoles, Series S, Series X and so on. Regardless, I basically found out that there are quite a few Japan exclusive games that may also actually be worth playing. So yeah, I set out to actually try and acquire some of these games, and that's exactly what I've done, and that's what I want to show you today. A few of the games that I have in my collection that are Japan exclusive, just so that to spread the word a bit, I guess, so that more people will learn about this. So let's start. first game I wanted to talk about is this here. This is Shikigami no Shiro. It's a bullet hell shooter, and I acquired this a few, maybe 1.5 months or so ago, 2 months ago. I've been into these shmups, into these shooter games for a while now, and when I found out that there are some exclusive games in Japan, I had to get these. So this was the first one I actually got, and I will tell you in a moment why in the end this may even be one game that I wouldn't even have had to buy. But regardless, I have it in my collection. It was the first one of the first ones of the Japan exclusive games. And yeah, I played it recently. I tried it a bit. I haven't finished it yet. I gave it a try. I really liked it. I like the concept. I like the way that it plays. However, the one thing that actually bothers me about it is the fact that when you're playing the game, there is this overlay of the graphics where it's like a softening effect overlaid on top of the graphics. So I would really prefer like the raw pixel art and the raw pixels. In this case, unfortunately, especially on a HD display or on a 4K display in my case, it looks, the picture looks quite soft, and I don't really love it a lot. I would really appreciate the raw pixels, but nothing I can do about it. In a very similar way, yeah, it's this game, Shikigami no Shiro Evolution. So I got this a week or so after I received the first one, and at that point I didn't realize yet that I could have really just skipped the original game, because from what I understand, on the disc for the game there's included is also the original version of the game. At least from the quick tests that I did, it looked like yeah, the whole original game is included here, and the evolution version is basically just an extra mode on the disc. So had I known this prior, then I would have probably skipped the original game, but I didn't know, so I bought it. I have both of them in my collection now, which is also fine. You may have noticed that in this case there are 2 discs. The first disc is the actual game disc that plays on the Xbox, and then there's a bonus disc included, which is a disc that you actually use on your PC or Mac. And I actually put this in my laptop. I connected the external drive to it, because my laptop doesn't even have a CD or DVD drive anymore. Connected it just to see, because I wanted to know if it would even still work, if it would do anything, or what's even on the disc. And yeah, it's still working. Even on Windows 11 I was able to basically start the installer from the disk. And then it would install kind of a launcher that was probably based on like Macromedia or Flash or something like that. And basically in this launcher you can look at a few promo videos, a few movies from the game. You can look at some galleries, some art of the game, and yeah, so it's a bonus disc for PC with some background story, all of this stuff. So yeah, as I said, I have both of them now. I will keep both of them in my collection, but probably would have been enough to only get the Evolution version. So if you're in the market for these kind of bullet hell shooters, then maybe learn from my mistake and focus on only getting the evolution version of the game. The next game that I got is Metal Wolf Chaos. This was actually, I think, the first Japan exclusive game that I got from my Xbox. This may be a game that a few of you have heard of, especially since it was not so long ago, maybe a few years ago, it was officially re-released on the current gen consoles. There was an HD remaster of the game. The game is from Software. However, it's not the kind of From Software game that you may be used to, so it's not like Dark Souls or Elden Ring in this vein. It's basically a mech shooter. You are the President of the United States and you are commandeering a mecha suit, and I think you have to repel an alien invasion or something like that. I haven't had time to actually play it yet properly. I only put it in to check that the disc actually works, that the game works. It's supposedly quite a good campy, cheesy game, so I'm looking forward to actually playing this soon, hopefully. What's interesting about the game is that even though it's exclusive to Japan, all of the voices in the game, like the voice acting, all of this stuff is actually in English. So I think the hurdle to actually play this, if you are not a native Japanese speaker, is quite low. Of course, the menus and stuff like this, apparently they are still in Japanese. But yeah, all of the voice acting, everything is in English, which is interesting. Also, I've started studying Japanese on my own a couple of years ago now, I believe, at some point during lockdown. I think I started simply out of boredom, and I'm still continuing to this day. I still enjoy it. I would never have imagined that I will actually enjoy doing this. And I have to say, at this point it already is actually helping me out for some of the import games that I'm playing. Since if you are able to just read even katakana and hiragana, and if you know a few of the very common words that are used in the menus in Japanese games, it can already be quite helpful. A lot of the times some of the menu options in the games are actually just English terms that are just written in the Japanese alphabet, for example, and there are like really common words like to go back or to return, which you see all the time. So yeah, I can only say this is something that actually helps me, something I enjoy, something I'm keeping up. And yeah, hopefully at some point in the future I will be able to play games that are even more Japanese heavy than these kind of games. And last but not least, there's one more game. That's the one that I got quite recently, and this was basically like one of the holy grails that was left for me for my classic Xbox collection. I can't think at the moment of a lot of more Xbox games that I'm still actively looking for. This one was one of the last few remaining ones, and this is Double-S.T.E.A.L, the Second Clash. This is a game, again, exclusive to Japan. First of all, it's a real technical showpiece for the system, and second of all, it's also a really good game. And on top of this, as like the icing on the cake, basically the whole game is in English. And when I'm saying the whole game, I mean the whole game. Even the menus are in English, the voice acting is in English. basically, if you play this, you wouldn't notice that it's actually a Japanese game if you play this on a US system. It's completely dubbed, it's completely localized into English. So there's really no barrier here at all. And as I said, it's also a really good game. It's a technical showpiece. I will link a video that Digital Foundry just recently did about the game, which shows just how awesome the technical aspects of the game are as well. And maybe some more background story about this. I'm of course happy in any case that it's in my collection, that I have it, that I'm actually playing it. I've already finished the first game in the series, so basically the series in the West is, the first one was called Wreckless, the Yakuza missions. It was released in the West on several platforms, including Xbox. I finished the first one, Wreckless, on Xbox. And there are also, like, I would call them probably spiritual prequels or spiritual, yeah, these are basically spiritual successors to previous games. For example, on Dreamcast, Super Runabout, which I also played and finished, and on the original PlayStation there was just Runabout, which I also played and finished, Runabout 2, which I played but I haven't completely finished yet because it's significantly harder than the first one. But all of them so far have been games that I actually really enjoyed. They're all in the same vein, and you can actually kind of see like the progression and the technical achievements that the developers made along the way. So I can recommend basically all of the games that I played in the series so far. But yeah, the other thing about this game is, what I'm really happy about is that I actually got this for a very decent, affordable price. Basically, when I was looking for this, it was available on eBay, of course, for importing, but the import prices started at around 130, 140 euros plus shipping from Japan. And since I am based in Germany, this means I need to import into Germany, and you may not know, but if you are importing goods into Germany via mail, basically via parcel, then there is a likelihood that customs will actually get a hold of the parcel, and they will ask you to pay import fees, to pay basically the taxes, the value-added taxes, which in Germany is already at 19%, plus additional customs fees. So roundabout, this would mean, usually you can do a very quick calculation, is about, you calculate the price of the good that you paid, including the shipping price, and then you add about a quarter, like 25% of the total price, and that would be the additional customs and taxes that you would need to pay to customs to actually receive your parcel. This has happened to me in the past quite a lot, and especially this for me this happens with stuff whenever they're like the amount, the total amount is like in 3 digits. Usually it happens to me almost all of the times. So yeah, so what I was going to say is that the nice thing about this one was that I could fortunately avoid, first of all, of the import and taxes and everything, and second of all, I got it for a really decent price, for around, I believe it was 80 euros in total. This was because a friend of mine who went to Japan a while ago, I asked them, hey, would you be able to look out for me if you're going to go to any like retro shops? Would you be able to look out for me? I'm looking for one very specific game. And this is actually also this game, they introduced me to it. So I didn't even know that this game existed until they introduced me to it. So I asked them, hey, this game that you showed me that I really liked, and that's really interesting for me. Could you look out for this one game for me? And they were nice enough, kind enough to say, yeah, it's fine. I know they had like a huge list already of other people, and of course for themselves, all of the stuff that they wanted to get and they wanted to bring back to Germany. But they were nice enough. They told me, yeah, sure, I'll look for it, and if I find it, I'll let you know, and then you can decide if you want to buy it, if the price is fair. So yeah, few days went by, and suddenly, while I was sitting at work, I fortunately happened to glance at my phone when I saw a notification going off in a messenger app, and I opened the app. Fortunately at this moment I wasn't too busy and I wasn't stuck in a meeting for an hour or two, so I was actually able to immediately check the message. And yeah, the message basically was from this person telling me, hey, I am at this moment in a shop, and they basically just sent me a screenshot of the spine of the game and basically asking me, hey, should I pick this up for this amount of yen? I don't remember how many yen it were, but I did a quick calculation conversion on the internet, and it told me it was around 80 euros. And they asked me, hey, do you want me to pick this up for you? You need to reply to me as soon as possible within like the next few minutes. So I immediately replied, yes, definitely pick this up, please get it for me and let me know how I can pay you for it. And then they replied, okay, picked it up, and don't worry about the money, we'll deal with this when I'm back in Germany. So yeah, when they were then back in Germany, a couple of weeks later, I visited them again, and I actually got the game from them, and I was able to pay them for it, thank them profusely, and ever since then it is part of my collection, and it's one of my Xbox, classic Xbox highlights in my collection. So yeah, that's the story of the few Japan exclusive OG Xbox games that I have in my collection. If you know of any others that are actually worthwhile to actually play, please post them in the comments, and I may look into also importing those. But other than that, that's it from me for the moment. And thank you for sticking with me, for just listening to me babble on for a while. And I hope to see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.